So here we go. We're running the Control Center Special Brawl with the Junkrat Symmetra. Into the mirror, very predictable. Flipping over here for the heals. You guys are behind. You're in the poke phase. Fine. You're gonna switch back? No, you're keeping the speed. Okay.
You hear that?
This isn't gonna do much. I mean, this is probably just a hard out at this point. Okay. It's not like the end of the world, but remember, we are playing against a comp with a Junkrat, etc. So as we go in here, we're just thinking about, hey, let's rewind it all the way, in fact. So obviously, you know, we probably didn't get the best amp value out of that. I mean, we can literally go right from the beginning here. If we're doing that, that's okay. But it's sort of like most of this is them organizing this, so you're going to want to delay this amp if you're using your amp to beat them there, because the amp for the little bit to get to the teleporter just not worth with them lining up the teleporter.
Yeah, it was just miscommunication. It was actually the point to just get on telly and then speed after telly, but I didn't.
Yep.
I didn't get the memo.
All good. Yeah. All good. So I like that you're on the wall here, but I'd like you to actually just be hopping between the walls here. Like here, you're staying on the ground. You're staying on the ground. You're staying on the ground. You're staying on the ground, and I totally want the contribution, etc., of your shots, but you can do that from here. You can do that riding back on this wall. Like, I want a little less on the ground at all, because there's Junkrat nades, there's Zarya right clicks, and those things are more likely to get you if you're on the ground, right?
Yeah, true.
Okay, so let's make that adjustment. In terms of our control here, this is okay. I don't mind speed. Like, it helps contribute to your Symmetra and your Reinhardt controlling distance. Junkrat's gone down. Now I look at this, and you flip over to speed, and this is probably you flipping over to speed for yourself, which I can live with. Or just flipping over to heals for yourself, which I can live with. But now it's probably time you got everything you needed out of this heal, and this is kind of looking pretty over to me. Like, I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, hey, we lost our Junkrat. Our Zarya's split from us in critical, where you can't heal them, where your BAP can't heal them. This is probably pretty over, unless we're doing better against red than I think you have any reason to believe we are, unless we believe that red is softer. So this is probably already a, now that you got, up to 190 or whatever, switch over to speed, and let's get our team out a bit more. Okay, and again, just because I'm going to be a stickler for your wall riding, because we talked about that last week. Maybe we didn't. We talked about that 2 weeks ago. Last week we ended up doing a lot of bricks. This is okay, but this sort of became a, well, was there a reason that we weren't over here doing this? Like, we can shoot just as well from riding along this wall back and forth as we can from here, and you're going to be in this for a bit longer still, because I don't think you're about to go back here. I think you're going to keep your aura in range of Reinhardt, and if that's the case, this wall is your friend over here. It changes your profile, it changes the height that they shoot you at you from, and again, there's Junkrat nades, etc., that probably aren't going to make it out past this thing, but that's what you want to be thinking about. You want the default to be, hey, I'm up on the walls.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's not a good time to be reloaded. Okay. Not a ton of reason to have gone in here to get your 100 health. Like, the Reinhardt's going to have been gone for a while, and you're not in a ton of danger right here. So this was probably a swap over to heals just to get your ult charge. Because you look at this and go, hey, I was missing 100 health. Stepping in spawn will heal me, yes. But even though, this is annoying, etc., I'm not really in danger back here. And my Reinhardt is going to take a few more seconds to spawn. So you could have just healed yourself up with your heal aura there. Because only just now is your Reinhardt getting any benefit from your speed. Okay, we don't need to be in front.
Nothing's gonna stop.
very little reason to not be spamming down this sight line. Like, you have a very, low risk weapon. Like, yeah, okay, maybe their Zarya's going to get some energy, but Zarya doesn't want to bubble just for you. That's not a good use. So very little reason to not be sending this down here as you're backing out there as Lucio.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not going to like this again. We're doing the amp and the teleport at the same time. On our walls at least. You should just be taking damage, right? Just taking damage, standing in the fire strike. I'm kidding, obviously. It's a replay bug.
Oh, wow.
I am loving this.
Mm-hmm. So you can use your Zarya when your Zarya's there and clearly trying to do it. I don't, you might go, what? Why is my Zarya poking into a one versus many situation? But it's Zarya, so we know why they're doing that. And since they're there, they're going to take some damage. You don't actually have health right now. I'm not sure why you don't have health right now, because you had time here to swap to heals. But you could, if you'd swap to heals, then play behind your Zarya a little bit and add your little bit of spam to hers. The reason you're doing that is you're encouraging them to shoot at your Zarya. Like, if your Zarya isn't doing anything to them, they won't shoot at her. If your Zarya is doing something, or your Zarya plus you are doing something, that's more encouragement. It's why low energy Zaryas don't get shot at, high energy Zaryas do get shot at, is kind of that concept. So you're pretending she's higher energy by adding your own damage with her between you and them so that she can personal bubble, take the damage, etc. But first, you're just missing the opportunity to self-heal right here, which is weird. Yes, you'll swap to speed to get your Zarya out if need be, but you could have been self-healing for a few seconds there. Because, you do have the more valuable ult, the better ult than your BAP has. You're going to let your BAP do most of the healing when appropriate, etc., but you don't want to fall too far behind. And you can see, yes, their team has been winning the fights, but the other Lucio is a bit ahead of you. The Grav is meaningfully ahead of you. You get the idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. You know what we're going to talk about.
When I got shattered at that point,
Mm-hmm.
my immediate thought was I could have avoided it by being in a wall.
Exactly. Like, there's a little wall right here. You can hop between the corner here. You can hop over here. Like, it's totally fine. And you'd be offering your ore to your Reinhardt here. You'd be offering your ore to your Reinhardt, once you got up to here. So you got it. And in this case, like, there's no reason you couldn't have been on this wall. But in this case, if you had been in the wall, it wouldn't really have made a difference, because all you'd be able to do is potentially hit a boop to minimize damage. So that's something. But, in some cases, you're going to be able to beat to recover from a shatter that goes the wrong way, etc. In this case, you can't. But being on the wall, you have to not get hit by the shatter in order to be able to do that.
Turn it up.
Are we going to drop a teleporter now? I feel like we have to drop a teleporter because you hit amp. No, okay, we're not. That's fine.
Okay. Yikes.
Oh, turn it up.
Why do you guys like this approach?
Why we did this?
Mm-hmm.
Or why we do this?
You've pushed this way twice. Okay. So I'm not in love with this approach. The benefit to this approach is that these guys are set up for this hold, which, okay, if they're set up for this hold, making them rotate to answer this hold has some benefit. But you see how narrow this opening you have to feed through is if they do set up at all for you? Like, even if they didn't have grab, this is like, okay, well, Junkrat is going to pour nades into it from here. Symmetra is going to have turrets set up around here. Their Reinhardt can enforce this corner. Their Junkrat sending stuff over from here. Their BAP is just shooting from here. Like, their Zarya is shooting from here. You see how, like, absolutely painful it is, whereas the only thing you guys can do is shoot in this narrow little direction, etc., like with all of you right here, all the damage getting funneled into you. So like the only benefit to this is, hey, we don't have to go into the direction that you're preset. But this is kind of generally speaking a better direction because we can push out here, we can push out here, we can actually split our team and try and take both concaves, we can clear one and then split and push both. Like this is generally the better push. You only do this to catch them off on their rotation, which, you know, this is just an ult tracking thing. And remind me, you're not doing most of the ult tracking, someone else is, but it is something that you should be beginning to pick up here, and we know that they have grav at this point, and this push is just like we just lose if we push through here when they have grav, right? Like unless there's already happens to be somewhere else, we're just gonna be in trouble here. This is like, hey, we're accepting a lost fight here, and you don't really have time to accept a lost fight at 70%. So we needed to try to go somewhere higher probability. Again, this is okay if they don't have grav. This is okay to make them rotate, but it's not by itself a particularly good push. This one really is better because we have more angles we could do. We could have, if we thought, hey, they're set up too hard for this, we could have rotated all the way around and come in through their side. That would have worked. I'm not in love with this. If this was the plan, I do kind of expect a teleporter because this is a rough choke. But here we go. I'm surprised you didn't immediately swap that over to heals. So if you look at this,
Oh, turn it up.
okay, you just got caught in the grab and your amp is going. So like neither is super helpful, but heals are better than speed right now, right? Like no one's getting out of this grab with speed or anything. And you just kind of left that on speed for a bit there. You're reloading with 17 ammo for some reason. Like this, you can keep shooting in this general direction. Even if you can't see what's going on, shooting in this general direction is going to be better for you than reloading here. Now you're on speed, that's fine. You guys got enough of the turn there. Okay, good.
Oh man.
What's that?
No, I was just amazed by my reloading again.
Oh yeah, no, you've got an issue there. We know. Okay, cap people up, good.
I feel like it's a Counter-Strike type of thing, because in Counter-Strike, it always used to be like, okay, when you can, just get a reload. And I feel like every moment when there's not an enemy around me, like instinct wants me to reload, and I just press.
Yeah, and and it's sort of like, hey, in some ways it's better than never reloading, but you have to actually think, is there actually not an enemy around me, or is there not an enemy on my screen either because I'm looking this way when there's an enemy this way, or because I'm behind cover for an instant, but a reload is going to take me 3/4 of a second, and, an instant is shorter than 3/4 of a second, and then it's going to, whoops, that was silly, etc. So it's just a little bit more like cover doesn't automatically reload. There's a sort of another momentary check of, wait, am I going to stay here? Or nothing's on my screen, but should there be something on my screen type thing. I get it. It's better to reload. I'd say it's slightly better to reload too often than to not ever reload except when the weapon forces it, but it is something that you're going to have to work on, ingrain in there, etc. Hey, we're on the walls. I like it. We're spamming. Fine. You can reload now if you want. Good. I don't mind if you touch the ground every once in a while. That's fine. I just generally want you up on the walls. Okay. And you guys called that you were grabbing here, so you're not trying to disengage him. Perfectly fine. Okay. I think you're trying to disengage from your team, but now you're going to get out, right? And you're going to hit another boop here?
Did I?
No, you didn't. I'm looking for you too, but it didn't happen. I mean, your team is clearly kiting is the reason I'm saying it, and I kind of expected you to look for a boop, just go when you were here to slide back up, jump over to here, hit a boop there, and then get out is kind of what I was looking for you to do. So if we Okay, you get what I'm saying. You're doomed. You're not doomed.
Check this out.
Okay, you guys are doing this, so you don't want to beat. Oh, but it's real tempting. Get that beep.
No, let's break it.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. Okay.
Follow.
Oh. You see that? You see that wonderful reload right there?
Uh,
No, the screen got in the way. No problem.
Oh, let's break it. Turn.
So you hit the beat, and that's okay with me. This is a must-win. You know, this is a must-win fight for you guys. Everyone was critical. It's a bit of a shame that we used the window and the beat when the beat probably would have done it. You know, second or two earlier, but this is fine. We have potentially targets here. I see the Symmetra wall, but you know there's a Zarya to your right you can shoot at. And you go for this reload. And yeah, it's true, you turned and looked this way for a moment, but you understand that that doesn't mean that for the entire duration of your reloads you're not going to have something available, and you would have. And I don't mind, you were mostly on walls there, honestly. That you got caught by that shatter isn't a big deal. So far, we're definitely seeing the reloads, we're definitely seeing the speed boost, teleporter, confusion. We want to amp after our teleporter, not before when that happens, which I know you know, but like, hey, it's there, we're going to talk about it. And then we've still got some wall riding stuff that we want to clear up, as well as some weird hanging out on speed when, hey, this is a clear window to heal up, etc. type stuff.
I ain't much for waiting around.
Teleporter online.
Gonna make you
Okay, fine for the boop here. You are still on speed, which is reasonably appropriate, given that you're running the Sim Rhine. Good. You're gonna go for the boop. You're probably gonna swap to heals here, though, so yeah, you did swap to heals. Good. Okay. Why did I want you on heals before, but now I no longer really want you on heals?
Actually, okay, I'm gonna say I'm not really sure, but the most logical thing that comes up is because they were not really in front of the Reinhardt, so he doesn't really need the speed to, you know, go into them. So I could just heal up a little bit and go back when the Lucian, whatever is attacking us, go back on speed so that the Reinhardt can go back in swinging or whatever.
Reasonable conclusion, but it was actually because you had the lamp out. You had the lamp out, and your team is mostly not going to leave the lamp, and if they're in trouble, they're going to go to the lamp, right? So, like, your team is sort of rooted by the lamp, in a manner of speaking. They're not completely rooted, it's not a hard root, but they're sort of rooted by the friendly lamp that you have going down. So it becomes a thing of, speed doesn't help us as much because we're not going to chase beyond the lamp for the most part anyways. Like, we'll do it a little bit, but we're not going to do it. And people are missing health, so I might as well heal because we're a bit self-rooted by our own lamp. Now that the lamp is over, we're back to speed, and we're back to speed because our comp still really, really likes speed. Like, yes, McCree would like some healing. You being on heals is not the end of the world because your bat probably isn't going to pay attention to your McCree. Is too busy with your Reinhardt, but it becomes a thing of they're just the value of speed just dropped while you had your lamp up because it's a semi-route, and the value of speed has gone back to its normal level now that the lamp is gone. It also did have a bit to do with, yes, the enemies were pretty outside when your lamp was down, but, and, you know, now they're starting to come back in, etc., but it more had to do with the lamp. Fair?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Okay, so we need to be looking for boop opportunities. Let's take a look here. We are here. You have boop available.
to the beat.
Booping the Lucio doesn't do anything. That's bubbled.
Yeah, time to
You don't
heal
want to
up.
push through that scary Reinhardt. This is scary, but was potentially a, hey, let me slide up here and boop these two back just to keep them out a little, because you can tell that, your team is getting a little overwhelmed here. You follow what I'm saying? So there was potentially a, let me get you guys off this flank a little bit. And that was relatively, it wasn't like zero risk for you to do so, but Lucio doesn't necessarily live in zero risk territory. So we're looking at this.
Oh, excuse me.
Booping Lucio doesn't really do anything. We're not worried about that. We can't do anything about that, but we're thinking, hey, how are we doing in this? We're somewhat stabilized, etc. We don't mind fighting this.
Time to
But
heal
now
up.
those two have that, and that is scary over there. Like, now they have crossfire on us. They're threatening us from... I can't share my screen like that. They're threatening us from both this angle and this angle, and that feels uncomfortable because we're mostly just existing in one place. So it becomes a, hey, can you angle out here and then, maybe come up through the window and boop them that way to close the angle, or maybe just ride through here and boop immediately, but do it on the wall so you don't get caught by a trap or anything. Like, it's not going to do a ton, but your aura is still going to be relevant. You're probably going to be okay doing it because your Reinhardt is making a pretty good distraction of these guys for you, and in doing so, these guys aren't really going to see you coming because of the angle that you can take. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. And now you can go for a boop to keep them out, but we've already kind of lost the fight, so it's just helping your team back out. Okay. Just disengage. Oh boy. Right idea. It's fine. Good. It's more consistent spam than we had a couple weeks ago. Good. Good. You don't have to stop shooting. You're immortal in here. So you go here. You're shooting here. Totally fine. They can't hurt you in here. You can keep shooting at that Reinhardt, Zarya, Lucio, whatever you want here. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, it's just, hey, we'll take the extra ult charge, we'll pressure you back a little bit, etc. Look both ways before crossing the strait. Okay.
Teleporter online.
The objective.
Then you with the amp, fine with me. Okay.
I always find it so awkward to play on this, position or map. I don't really know why. As Lucio, it's so weird for me. I
Yeah,
never
this
really
one's
know what
tough.
to do. Wall riding is weird because you keep getting thrown off by the pillars and stuff.
Pillars, the windows. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
I was looking for you to go, hey, we have a window up, and because we have a window up, I might want to be hanging a little bit more up here, a little bit more up here to potentially keep them having to run through our window longer as they're, rotating in here. It's the, hey, nope, I want you to keep having to run through our window rather than you guys getting past our window. But you stayed back and spammed heavy, and that was fine. I agree it's hard to ride around in here. I don't have a beautiful solution for that other than, hey, you can get a little higher. You can get up here. There's your option, which kind of is the right answer to go, hey, I'll be up here, etc. But, other than that, you just have to go, hey, there's the pillars. I know the pillar distances, and even without looking, I can do my hops between the pillars pretty easily. Yeah, which is just practice to get those. Okay, just to give you dicey. Fine.
This.
Sure.
I don't know. I thought I disengaged here, but I'm not really sure.
I think you're just getting your teammates out. I wasn't 100% sure what the amp was about because you're not I'm not sure what the amp was about, but I think, going, hey, we're going to play from the outside, and now I think I'm getting my teammates to leave. I don't know that it'll work, but... Yeah, now I don't know what we're doing. Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
I feel great.
I thought you were real questionable these last week.
Yeah, but I'm
insane.
just not sure what this is. Like, I'm looking at this, and
Yeah.
I'm just not sure what the team's plan is.
Up the tempo.
Oh yeah, now we're swapping to Pharah without a Mercy, and we're definitely not going to get a Mercy because we have beat. Okay. Lovely. Lovely, guys.
You feel that? Move.
I don't really. We have to 95. Okay.
Oh, let's break it. Damn.
Yeah. No.
This is
yeah.
early. This is so
Yeah, I
early.
know. Mm-hmm.
And it only gets 2, and it gets, like, Tracer like speed, but, like, this isn't who needs to be. Okay. Good. Fine.
Converge on me.
Need healing. My ultimate is charging.
You're gonna taxi. You still don't have time to swap, I don't think.
Oh, this is my
No.
jam.
Good. Okay.
Enemy contact.
You can spam it more. There you go. Fine. Okay.
Focus Ryan a lot. Is that okay or not?
Focusing Ryan is okay. I don't have an issue with you focusing Ryan. I do have an issue with you not realizing how your comp is swapped. Do you want this fight? Do you brawl harder or do they brawl harder at this point?
They do.
Right. So when we look at this,
I don't think they wanted me to switch to Mercy, and it
That's
was.
I don't
Okay.
need you to swap to Mercy. You have a Reinhardt. I'm totally fine with this. What I want to get into is I want you to slow down. I want you to slow down these guys' engagement. So this is happening. Part of the way you slow down the engagement is with speed, and that's good. But their bubble has now been wasted, and you know projected bubble has been wasted. So I wouldn't have minded a little bit of a, let me boop you guys harder into the corner. Let me boop you guys a little out as you get out type thing here. Or let me come around and boop you guys out here. Or go back here and then come across and boop you guys here and then cross up in here, etc. I'm wanting you to slow down their engagement ever so slightly because it gives your Tracer and your Pharah more time to bombard these guys. You follow what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
So this becomes a, hey, this is just spamming. This is a team that wants to advance, and you haven't hit a single boop on their advance yet to slow them down. And, I don't want you to, like, feed trying to go for boops, but in places where you think you have good wall ride paths out, let's do it.
Up the volume.
Okay. But yes, generally in this matchup, you're going to spend a lot of time focusing the Reinhardt. They're reliable shots. They apply good pressure. Hitting his shield is perfectly fine, etc. If you're playing against something with more flankers, if they were running some like weird Reinhardt Tracer comp, you would need to be paying more attention to, nope, I'm not going to let you take the angles. Like, I'm going to shoot at people that try to take angles, that try to take flanks, etc. But against this kind of thing, the Reinhardt's totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah, let's move it, people.
Огонь по готовности.
Okay, you swapped at that time. I'm not worried. You're just boned at this point.
Rocket barrage incoming. Take the objective. Ready for battle.
Okay.
Ready for battle.
So we're still in reload territory. We've definitely added... Oh, we're going to see some Mercy now. We've definitely added some need for more boop use. I know we've talked about boop use before, but I'm kind of hoping we can combine some of the wall ride and boop stuff going forward here, that it'll make more sense. Like, you'll want to wall ride more when you're thinking about how to get some of these, I won't call them aggressive boops, but boops to increase your team's kite distance, etc., or kite time. Because the wall ride is what makes that doable. Especially some of the slightly more dangerous ones.
Capture the objective. Teleporter online.
This is gonna make you feel better.
Okay. So I can notes our comps real quick. They have the Reaper, so you're just gonna live to make Reaper's life difficult. Fine. Okay, do you know where the Reaper is yet? It's right there. Okay, that's fine.
You hear that?
Okay. It's a little unfortunate. Let's see a little bit more how this fight unfolded, because you guys shouldn't really be at a disadvantage here. You're running the Sombra, they're running the Reaper. That gives you a little bit better range.
Gonna make you feel better.
What is going on here? Are we just taking forever setting this up? Are we spamming right clicks? I don't understand what we're doing. Okay, now we're doing that. That's fine. We just don't want to swing this hard. Yeah, your Reinhardt is just trading too much health. Okay. Traded too much health too early. Okay, not a big deal. Basically, I was expecting your Reinhardt to slow down that fight until your Symmetra was set up, ramped, etc. to slow it down, and was going to cause the Reaper to go, shoot, I need to make something happen, come around the flanks, and you were going to deny that. That's how I expect this matchup to play out, but that didn't happen. I mean, that's mostly junk time.
Move to the beat. I hope nobody saw that.
No, you guys are mirroring. Okay.
Understood. Step to this.
But why though?
Understood.
Okay, so this is fine, and I'm totally good with your amp. I just have no idea why we're continuing into this. Like, this is just like, hey, we just lost our BAP. They have a window. Your amp speed is correct, but your amp speed should be for us to rotate out and to just accept that this is over and not feed them a whole Brawl team's worth of ult charge. Oh, it hurts. Okay. I know you don't control the team's rotations, right? That's your Reinhardt?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's up the tempo. Back in the mix. I am loving this.
That's not a thing that you needed to do. Like, you hung a really long time there to take that shot.
Time to heal up.
I thought maybe I could headshot and kill him, and then I'm like, no, I've tried it before. I'm gonna get killed. So
That's exactly what happens. Like, you're already missing health. You're already missing
Yeah.
health, so he's gonna get a skull early. You turn, and you're not shooting yet.
Oh, this is my
You hit your amp, so you're still not shooting yet. And then you're like, oh, I'm gonna start shooting. Like, if he doesn't, he probably is close to having one already on you. yeah, he already has one on you. Like this is yeah, not right. You did too many things before you took the shot, and honestly, you can't even take a full volley. You can do like I fire 2 shots of my volley and I'm behind cover. I fire 3 shots of my volley and I'm behind cover. Like this doesn't work. Yeah.
Double time.
We're just lucky that he wanted other people.
Step right.
I want to see how you used your boop. I think it was what I expect, but let's see. Yeah, good. Pressure, fine.
Oh.
You just got caught there. I'm not sure what you got caught on, maybe the bench, but that, that's just hey, that doesn't usually happen. You had the right idea. Good flank for the pressure relief.
Double time.
Okay. Your comps are still mirrored. You both have beat. You have grab. You have shatter. They have window. Little early, perhaps on the amp, but it's right when they have window. Sure. Okay. This is maybe not exactly where you want to be, but okay. I mean, you see it. It's sort of like, this is like, I don't mind you taking a bit of an angle, etc. But this is pretty extreme what you and Zarya have gone for here. But that's okay. You'll have walls to play with.
Oh, let's break it. Damn.
Did we need that? I don't think so.
No.
Was there any sort of plan on ult usage here?
No.
Okay, so
I
we
don't
didn't
think
call
there
any of our ults. That's unfortunate. So, because yeah, there's the grab. Yes, they have the window out. That's a little bit scary. Your Reinhardt's missing a little health, but you can already see, or you can see the grab. You can have heard the shatter.
Oh, let's break it. Damn.
You hit it just an instant after the shatter's gone out, but like, so I get it if you didn't get that one, but it's just a shame because we're investing like 3 of them are stunned. We're gonna be just fine. Like your Reinhardt is probably gonna be okay, even without this beat. And we lamp at the same time, so we effectively stacked our support ults there. Well, our defensives at least. Do you guys have a plan for your lamp versus beat use when you guys are playing this comp? Like a, hey, you call out what specifically you're answering, or a, hey, you call out when you're taking the next thing, or a, like, do you guys have any sort of system for how you guys are using your defensives?
No, not yet. We just it's actually kind of weird, but we just started. Well, not just like well, we just okay. I don't really know how to explain it perfectly, but
Okay.
it's usually just simple fight planning in the beginning. Like, okay, we're gonna do this and this and this, and then we're gonna engage. But usually, there's no extreme communication between me and my other support about our defensive ults
Okay.
yet. Usually, it's the tank that's like, hey, we're gonna jump in or we're gonna speed in, use B or whatever. I'm just
Sure.
not really.
So there's different ways that you can do it, because it's not like this is the only combination it'll ever happen with. Like you might run Lucio Zen and have do 2 defensives. You might run Brig Lucio, well, probably, Brig Lucio maybe and have 2 defensives. Brig Bap would be more likely. So like you can have that. So what you run into is a decision of, okay, is it we always lamp the first thing if we have it and we communicate, and you'll just be aware when lamp is already being used, because tracking a 25-30 second cooldown, that's easy for you, etc. So like you can either go, hey, we always lamp the first thing, or you can set up a system where it's like, hey, you're communicating that I'm going to look to beat for Death Blossom, or I'm going to start the fight with beat, etc. Like not start the fight, but we're going to brawl into a beat, etc. So you can plan specific beat use. You can say I'm using beat for something, or you can go we're always going to lamp first, and beat is our follow up after lamp has been used. It's going to depend what understanding you guys want to come to as a team, but you're going to need something. Otherwise, you will see more stacked defensives like that. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Fine. I don't think you need this amp to complete your rotation, do you?
Nope.
Yeah, so now you just don't have your amp when they try to amp into you, which is unfortunate. Good. Okay. And you're gonna boop this right out, right? Good. I don't know if you were trying to boop them off the edge, which is fine, but even just booping them back is fine, because this is a terrible place for them to have to. This is like we were talking about Control Center, where they're sort of having to walk through this enclosed space, etc., into a mirror comp, and the mirror comp has the better angles, the better we can sort of channel everything down this funnel. So even just sending them back has value. But if you were going for the boop, that's fine. If you're going to send them back, that's fine too.
Is it ever smart to actually choose this location? I mean, this angle, though, or is it genuinely better to just go left? And if you're,
it can totally be fine to choose this angle. This angle is appropriate if you're playing a brawl comp like this into, say, a dive comp, right? Because if you're playing a brawl comp into a dive comp, you want to be here where you're more contained. You're not going to get knocked off by like a Pharah boop or a Primal, etc. Like this is the safer rotation against some boops. And then a Tracer, a Genji, an Echo, they're not going to follow you into here to fight you, right? So you get to sort of recover in here, and then you amp speed and run across onto the point, and then you're happy to fight on the point. So it's absolutely a valid rotation, but it's a valid rotation for brawl into stuff that is squishier than brawl. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
For you as brawl into brawl, no, you don't really want this rotation. Like, unless you're worried specifically about like they're running a monkey in the brawl and they're going to primal us off or something. No, this is generally better, safer, etc. Yeah. You can still do it. Like you can do the, hey, they're hard set up over here. The team is hard set up over here, so we're going to try to beat them on a rotation. We shouldn't be able to beat them on a rotation, but there is something to be said for if we think we're better than the other team at rotations, we might do it, because every time you rotate, it's a chance for you to make a mistake, but it's also a chance for the team that has to counter rotate to make a mistake. So if you're going, we can't break this, and this is harder, but there's a chance they'll make a mistake if we rotate this way. And we might even do a, hey, we pretend to go this way, actually rotate this way, oh, no, double back, and now we're going to go back this way type stuff. Like, yes, it's a lot of time off the clock, but that's a thing that you can do that is... The rotation isn't completely worthless, is what I'm saying. Bye, Reaper.
No, he survived that.
What's that?
I thought he survived it, but someone else killed him.
I think your
before
Reaper
he
just
could
finished
fall.
him off in the sky.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He still went bye-bye. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is fine.
This is my jam.
Right idea. Swap to heals. Swap to heals, good. It's fine. Gotta yoink those bubbles that are meant for Reinhardt. Gotta yoink them. Still don't like it. I still think you make this rotation just fine without it. Why do I not like that?
This is the boop, and we're fully engaging pretty much.
Right, like this isn't a case of, oh, we want to keep them out, etc. Like, yes, you could say, hey, we're down, so we sort of want to keep them out, but that's not really on the table. We're not going to be able to prevent this fight from happening for long enough, and we're doing this. They've committed their lamp, sure, so like that's not great, but this we don't want to send them away. We have our Death Blossom going, we have all sorts of stuff going on here. Our Reinhardt is shattering. Like, it would be unfortunate to knock them away right now. Yes.
Wait, did we lose that?
Sure, looks like it. Oh,
Damn.
maybe not.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Oh!
Oh. No,
Oh
I
boy.
think yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. Or we could not,
not.
but okay. Okay. It's fine. So you can do this. There's definitely, you can make this leap. You can. You messed up your timing on getting on here, so you didn't have appropriate speed top off, but you can make this leap if you do it better. Okay. That's all we need to say then, I guess. So wall riding practice still on the list. Okay, and that should have been the last map for this one. Okay, so from what we've seen here, we can't not say wall riding practice after that. We definitely saw the reloads were a big thing, and I'm actually going to make the third thing on your list your amp speeds, because there was these up here, right? Okay, because there were these amp speed for the rotations that you just didn't need. You want to have your amp speed, plus there were the amp speeds with the teleporters. So, like, I get it, the teleporters were a miscommunication, etc., but it happened twice. It also happened twice here. That's a lot of amp speeds. And amp speed is, one of the best things of Lucio's kit. So, like, let's really make sure we're honing in on those, thinking about those a little more. We're not using amp speed when we don't need it to beat them on a rotation, because we'd rather have it to either kite them or run them over if we want it. We'd rather have it as an answer when they actually get to the brawl here. And then the reloads, I think you see it. I think, that it jumped out at you, which is great. That, like, look at some of these reloads. So reloads are specifically for when we're doing our work, but reloads are specifically for when we're actually going to be out of line of sight for most of the time of the reload. Not when, we eliminated everything on our screen, but there's something over here if I turn. Not for I'm jumping and I'm looking away for a second while I'm jumping. Well, you're choosing to look away. You could just as easily look over there, etc. Reloads, amp, and some of the wall ride stuff, like falling in there, getting hit by shadows, etc. So let's hop into the next replay code, unless you have questions.
No, that was it.
Okay, then we're not going to get through all of Blizzworld here, but we can certainly take a bit of a look.
I'm not really sure if I'm playing on it. I just grabbed some codes because I don't know. I just like I said, I felt like I played really horrible, so I didn't really feel like any replay codes were valuable. Oh, I did play. Okay.
Okay. So we're here. You guys are running your Brawl with a Hanzo. They're running with a Reaper. Okay. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Still need that wall riding practice. But hey, at least you're trying. You're getting the practice right here. Scrims are for practice, right? Sort of. I mean, they are, but usually they're for a different kind of practice. Okay, I can live with this. I can live with this. I like that's a different angle. I don't love that you're sort of the only thing available to them. Like, yes, you have high ground, but you're sort of the only thing available to them. And, even on low ground, I think McCree plus BAP is probably more scary than Lucio with high ground advantage. So I'm like, maybe I don't want this quite yet. Maybe I go back over here, do more offering aura to my team thing, and then I slide back over here, or slide back over here once these guys have actually rounded this corner and are paying more attention here.
Oh.
So amp usage, yeah. You're going to have to go challenge that high ground. You don't yet have the technical skills to challenge this high ground. Okay.
Nothing's gonna stop it.
Good. Cleared it. We'll say. That's a reasonable amp. Look for your disengage. I still think your team wants to disengage. Okay.
Heal up.
Oh boy.
Time to accelerate. Got some hand here? Go time.
It's okay. It's not amazing. Like, this is, again, sort of a... You're challenging a group of them. You're challenging a group of them, not quite alone, but from the same angle as your Hanzo. These guys are sort of peeking. Like, I don't love this. I'd really prefer your Hanzo goes from this angle and you continue to go from here, to be honest. I'm trying to decide if I want you to go to the right. No, I'm going to live with you being here because it's offering aura to these guys when they want to come back in. Okay, forget I said anything.
Let's get patched up.
I will say this. You all right across here, you're going to make this leap. It's okay to turn midair and actually, fire off your volley as inaccurate as it's going to be. You saw what you did there. We just kind of went like this and went right across, and that's not the end of the world or anything, but there's absolutely no reason that you can't.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Let's get patched up.
Let them up.
Move it, people.
Again, we don't really want to amp as the window's going out, but I don't know if the window is called. Okay, we have the better poke. You can't really go challenge the McCree. Right idea there. Amp is fine.
That finishes us off here.
What's that? You finish him off?
He kind of finished. No, he does to
Oh.
us. He kind of.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'd have liked you guys to do is you enforce this corner a little more hard. You potentially come up here and corner boop something out to continue to keep this disengage off for two reasons. One, they have the Reaper. You want to drag the fight out and make it take longer. Two, if you can push these guys back even for a moment, that potentially gives your BAP a window to help snipe down that your BAP, your McCree, whoever, a window to help snipe down that McCree, etc. But not a big deal.
Should I in that situation call out that we should actually go in then?
No. I don't want you to go in. I want you guys to fight the McCree. I want you to keep this angle like you're keeping this angle, but I want you to just ride up to here and hit a boop to push back to see if there's a window. You might ride up here, see immediately you have to leave because the Rhine's holding his shield or whatever, or it's Azari who has a bubble, whatever. But to see if you have an opportunity to boop to knock people back, even if it's just a couple steps, for your team to have a chance to, you see what I'm saying? Like, you wanted to force a little bit of a disengage because then the McCree is effectively 1v3ing, 1v5ing, and he's only doing it for a second, but you want to create that second so your team has a little extra chance. As Lucio, it's like, hey, I enable my team with speed, I enable my team, I do this, I move my team around, but it's also, I disable the opponents a little bit. I take away their angles. That's what I was talking about earlier with the junk in the sim, hey, going and booping them away, etc. This time you can't go, like, if you could, I'd say, yeah, go boop down the McCree, take away his angle. But that just wasn't real. I wasn't going to send you this far away from your team to go boop him down. So the best thing that we could do is boop these guys back so that you can deny this angle for a second and a half, while your team can hopefully deal with that, or at least put more pressure on him, because he's McCree. He doesn't have self-sustain. If you guys do 100, 120 damage to him, he's going to leave, and he's going to be very hesitant to peek again.
Okay.
Stop the payload.
Nothing's gonna stop it. You're fully healed.
Okay. Nice. reload. Yep.
Healing boost.
Flipping him out is fine.
Up. Let's up the tempo. See through the dragon's eyes.
So that happened.
That was so weird too. I felt like I was in, I had great distance, but somehow I got stuck in anyway. So
Yeah,
look,
I see it. Like, the gravel sort of pull, but this is at a distance, I think, where if you hard back, it won't get you. I think now it might get you, but when it started to, tease you in a little bit, I think you were far enough away that you could have still stayed out if you'd hard pressed the other direction. But yeah, it pulled you from far away. This is like old grav, the distance it pulled you from.
Check this out. I could do this all day. Killed it. Killed it. Killed it.
Nice. Still probably worth. Yep.
Good as new. This is gonna make you feel better.
Fine.
Nothing's gonna stop. Oh, you hear that?
Do we need this amp?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'd agree. They're still back here. If they were like right here, maybe you need this amp, but I don't think so.
Check this out.
Owie.
I thought it was ours. It's
Yeah.
kind of confusing.
All good.
Yeah, let's move it, people. I am ready to activate the sound barrier. Oh, yeah! Regen burst activated. You feel that?
Okay.
Oh, let's break it. Damn!
You doing this? Why are you beating so early?
I've
Is it for your
Like-
McCree? No, it's not for your McCree. We have this.
no, I think the tank called it out to engage with beat.
So we're not going to do that. I don't care what the tank says. We're not going to do that. It's totally fine to go, we're going to go hard and expect that we're going to get beat, but we're not going to start with beat. Because what we want to do is we want to push hard, and you're going to be a light trigger finger. If someone looks at all unhealthy, like if someone gets down to half, or two people get down to half, or maybe someone gets down to 40%, you are going to cave super easy and pull out that beat. You follow what I'm saying? But you're not going to beat while everyone's at full health. You're going to let them use their health aggressively, knowing that their life is going to be saved by a beat. You follow what I'm saying? Because that lets you, your BAP can potentially do some healing while the beat is there. You could, your BAP could do some healing, you could do some healing, etc. You want to use the beat as like extra health, but you get the most if you go use real health, beat, maybe even get healed a little during the beat, and then perhaps have your full health again, or most of your full health again, etc. once the beat is worn off. But also, as soon as you use the beat, the other team hard uses their abilities to disengage. They don't necessarily do that if you just run at them. You follow what I'm saying? And it's kind of too late if you then beat, and it's like, well, you guys are stuck in this. You used your abilities in normal ways instead of to disengage. So yeah.
Charging.
Okay.
Here, let's pick it up. Nothing's gonna stop me.
fine.
Oh, this is my jam. My ultimate is charging.
Barrier activated.
60 seconds remaining.
Time to heal up.
Okay, we knew they had grav. Did we actually spend meaningful shots there? Or are we just doing it because we're hiding anyways? One shot, basically 2 shots.
Yeah, time to heal
Just swapping
up.
to heals. Yeah, I can live with that. Yeah, aiming for the way up.
Dead brat.
Double kill.
That one is yours. Okay. Oh yeah, you're gonna escort him into spot. He's gonna get that high noon value, darn it. Cheeky little angle, we can try.
30 seconds remaining.
Check this out.
Ooh.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
Depth of this.
So, I can live with this, but what I'd sort of say here is this is one of those which you normally see higher level Lucios do, and you could have done this in the last fight too, is you see them hang out a little bit more up here, especially in Brawl v Brawl type situations, because you're worried about 2 things. You're worried about keeping the other Lucio out, that's one thing, because this is where the other Lucio is also likely to hang out. You're worried about having a different angle for shooting down and into the fight, which is good, but you're also worried about having the option to go, let me slide around here and knock the Reinhardt in ahead of his team. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're at these like corner holds like this, I want you to be thinking a little higher up on this wall because you're specifically going, I have a different angle. I'm still enabling my Reinhardt. I can go here and boop the Reinhardt out. I can go here and boop the Reinhardt in, depending on the flow of the battle, etc. And also their Lucio is thinking the same thing, so I might have to boop their Lucio out to stop their Lucio from booping my Reinhardt in. So this is how this works for Lucio duel. Like this is what Lucios do in Brawl v Brawl. Okay.
Oh, this is my jam.
10 seconds. Overtime.
Do they get second tier?
I think they do, yeah.
Okay.
Healing boost.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Mid and half, that's fine. We'll finish the round.
You feel that?
Live with this.
No.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
I was like, why did I let that happen in my head? I could have just pressed right and then I'd be fine or whatever.
I know. It was just like you're watching it happen in slow. I mean, you're watching it at full speed, and it feels like slow motion. Like what? What? Okay. So let's go back to that. I think normal heals is fine. Do you think you need amp here? Like you're
No.
okay. Cool. So
No.
your amp usage has been pretty bad today, and I don't know if these are from yesterday, but this day, if your Lucio is feeling bad, it's probably because your amp usage has been pretty bad. Like that's the biggest thing that I'm seeing that is like this is much worse than I'm used to for amp usage out of you. This is what has deteriorated. So let's sort of focus up on this and try to get this back because you're using your amp, I don't know, at the drop of a hat on weird things. Like, let's use this to rotate. Well, we're going to beat them. Let's use this for the sim teleporter. Well, that doesn't make sense. Let's use this to heal up my BAP who isn't really in any danger. No, we can slow heal him. Like, let's try to fix this. This is the thing that is going to get your play back to what you're used to, is what I'd say.
More or less, I don't. I hate making excuses, but I was quite tired and didn't really feel like screaming that day. So it's like,
Sure.
yeah,
Sure. No,
yeah,
that's fine. No, that's real.
yeah.
Unfortunately, you mostly have to do it because, everyone,
Yeah.
you're working with 6 other people and they're having to do it on days that they're tired, etc. But I totally get it. Our performance is not a perfectly stable thing. This Reinhardt is in. They have beat going. Yeah, I'm okay with you booping this. Scaring you. So far, so good, though.
That's acceptable. That's an okay thing to do. Like being that far in with only Orion appears.
You had to because you were trying to save your Ryan. I'm not remotely worried that you were this far in because your Ryan was still up and you were trying to keep him that way. I'm not remotely worried now.
Okay.
If you
But
feel
more
like
like my more like was it smart of my Ryan to do that? Because he basically, I felt like it was a little bit too much putting him and me in danger like that. But I'm not really sure if we actually were.
you
in
guys could have
danger,
sent
but-
your whole team up there. I don't think you were in a ton of danger. Like I honestly think you were fine. They were retreating
Okay.
pretty hard, and I think as long as you had other teammates, like you might not have seen them, but for all I know, Yuzari was pushing up on the outside here on an angle just behind you. Your BAP had sight line on you. Like maybe not, but like the concept of we're going to push them up to here, etc., and then we had staggers, we can get more. That didn't look like an unbalanced thing. Like we were hard pushing staggers when we had people of our own just spawned, etc. That looked reasonable enough.
Got it.
My ultimate is charging. My sound barrier is almost ready.
Okay, he's buying time for you to get beat, is all I can figure. That's a generous interpretation.
Oh.
Seconds remaining.
Almost ready.
Okay, we're gonna amp. We're not gonna amp. There's our amp. And you're gonna beat in just a moment. You're gonna beat. You're not beating? Huh.
Oh, let's break it down.
Okay, now you beat. I expected you to beat with the 0.8 seconds left there when your lamp wore out because you did have a couple low health people and it was clearly last fight, etc. And why chance it? But that's fine. Okay, so
Was it? Should I beat? Should I beat it in that moment?
sure.
Didn't really feel like it. Really? Okay.
In a normal situation, no, but with where the clock was and with how the fight was going, yes. So let's take a look here. Let's take a look.
10 seconds remaining.
Almost ready.
You've hit this. I think your amp is late. But here we are.
See?
Here's our amp.
Yeah, true.
So you look at this, you're missing health, your crew's missing health, your Reinhardt's missing health. If you go down because that Lucio hits a shot right now, I'm going to be pretty unhappy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and they're down 3, you're down 1. A beat makes this pretty secure. They don't have grab yet. Maybe you think they have grab, but if you beat, they're going to grab your beat, and it's effectively as if you'd beated their grab. You know what I'm saying? They can't wait for your beat to partially wear off. They're going to have to grab immediately if they have it.
Oh, let's break it down.
Okay. So, again, I think you saw most of what you had here. The biggest thing that is screaming at me is your amp usage has changed. It's gotten worse, so we're going to want to look at that. Then we're going to have the, hey, you saw some reload stuff, and yes, you should keep that in mind. But I think the bigger deal is going to be, hey, let's really make sure you're looking for that boop stuff to control it, and to get that, your wall riding is going to happen. I think as you go for some of these more difficult boops, you're going to naturally force your wall riding to get better. You're going to lose some games, but you're going to naturally force your wall riding to get better, if that makes sense. Do you have any questions? Anything you want to get into here?
No. I'm
Okay.
good.
Okay, then I hope this is helpful. Would you like to keep this time slot? Would you like a different time slot? Here, let me actually end this here.
I mean, this